Welcome to Great Talking Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the podcast where we review movies and TV shows, including all your favorite superheroes from Marvel Comics and DC Comics and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel, and please smash the thumbs up button. Please leave comments and feedbacks and let me know how you guys feel about everything I review, because I would love to hear your opinion. So let's go, baby. As we continue on the Disney's new Marvel show called Moon Knight, we're on episode 4, and this is the episode before review. Of course, it's a spoiler, so as we continue on, I will be spoiling the next episode just to get everybody heads up. So we're gonna get into it now. In Moon Knight episode 4, it took us on a different path this time. Not too different, but in a different way where we saw things we didn't think. So what I mean is that even though it's still a slow pace, very psychological thriller with some horror to it, but it did go to a Marvel cinematic feel that you would get if you went to see a Marvel film in the theaters. And this episode definitely made me enjoy the show even more just because of that. And it definitely made me a fan of other characters, especially with Arthur Harrow. He's actually becoming one of my favorite MCU villains in a way. I just like the way he works. I like the way he thinks. And he's a villain that seems very challenging to any Marvel character that has to deal with him in a storyline, of course. So I do hope they don't kill him off. I definitely hope that they would use him in other Marvel shows or films in the future, hopefully. But we'll see how this goes, because there's a lot happening in this episode, of course. So really hope so. And Layla, now I really like Layla more now on this, because they showed her in a different way twice in this episode. One, obviously, when in this episode they show how Arthur was in there, but Mark and Steven were in the mental warehouse. This one really definitely showed her that she's crazy. Here's her version of being crazy and locked up, right? But then I also like in the beginning of this episode where she was more, not action-packed, but more, scientist, nerdy, smart, show more of her intelligent side, and it showed her more kind of dorkish, kind of nerdy, kind of quirky-ish in that type of area, you know what I mean? And I really like that, because now you're seeing how her and Steven react and interact with each other in a way on a mission like this. So Layla is another character I'm really enjoying becoming a fan of, and I hope they don't kill her off. I just truly believe that she might end up in the Marvel Secret Wars show. I hope, but I could be wrong easily. No problem. And we'll stay on Layla for a bit. Now, on this episode, they showed more Layla'S backstory. And what I really like this one, she can't trust Mark, and she can't trust Steven because they were keeping secrets from her. Crazy as this is, Arthur is the only one that told her the truth. Now, she could have ran off into that, into the next room or pathway or whatever, but she definitely didn't. And she heard what Arthur had to say, and you know what? I think the way he was explaining it, how she said Moon Knight and Khonshu killed her father, including Mark as well, and maybe Steven, because they haven't really revealed how far. Well, they have, but they haven't shown a scene where how far this Moon Knight really went back and got Steven. For a minute, I'm thinking Mark had his own body. I think Mark's dead. I think he's a ghost or a spirit. But now the way they're explaining it, I think Mark and Steven are now legitly like the same person, and even Jake, I think they're gonna end up doing like a split personality, which I know it's like comic book accurate in the Moon Knight comic book series, but I didn't think they would do it like that. But it looks like they are. It looked like Moon Knight and Khonshu once possessed, and I think he was the Moon Knight, and I think Arthur's the one that shot him, but I think, kept that away from Layla. But I think the rest of it was the truth, and I could sense that Layla believes him. He's the only one being very clear what he's trying to do, obviously. So, very villain. He's manipulating Layla in a way, too. So, but like I said, there's some truth to it, and I think she realizes it, or she would have just ran away, ran off, and met up with Mark and Steven on this show, but she stayed to hear him out. Arthur is, using every way to get to what he wants. So playing off, he's being honest when he needs to, and being lying and deceitful when he has to be, of course. So there's that. So that's what's getting off. So that's why I believe Layla has a bigger role in the MCU, and I just think it's going to be great. So I'm hoping. How I feel is about this show is I really like the concept of this show. I really like this episode. I really like how they had it off. The only thing I didn't like about it was, their horror, when they want to do that horror thing, when they had like that zombie preacher. At first it was kind of like, oh, this is some spooky shit, right? But then it's kind of like, it felt like some like 90s Goosebumps feel when they had a live action show for Goosebumps. That's what it felt like to me. It felt scary. I know they were trying to make you feel scary, but that's what I see. And because when I saw the face of the zombie preacher, it was kind of like a little bit of a letdown, but it's nothing like I really care or nitpick about. But I think I just compare it to all the high budget CGI VFX effects from like previous Marvel movies, and I'm like, man, where's that at? But I get it, different budget, so I'm not too sad about it. But that was my only bad thing I could think, or negative thing I could think about it. So nothing else. Now let's talk about the love triangle between Mark, Steven, and Layla. Now, I felt like they jumpstart to this relationship between Layla and Steven. It's not bad. I felt some details were missing. For example, I think this episode should have been where Steven and Layla should have had bonding and then have that kiss, but they just got it out the way just to get everybody kind of there because they had more surprises, so it's understandable. We're receiving things that are more interesting in that show and for the moment, obviously, because this, once again, like I said, this episode took us to a Marvel cinematic action pack feel. It definitely felt like watching a Marvel movie, like in theaters or at your home, of course. So this episode definitely felt like a Marvel movie. Other than that, I could see it with the love triangle. I see that if Mark doesn't make it and Jake doesn't make it and Steven's the one that owns the body that you see, then I can see Layla and Steven being like the true lovers for each other, and that's fine. I mean, and that's the pattern. Besides Spider-Man, well, no, you can add Spider-Man to it. A lot of the live action MCU characters that we know and have in the previous, now in the past, they all have like a relationship with somebody. So, this is just another live action Marvel characters who have their significant others. So, like Tony Stark and Pepper Potts, Ant-Man and Wasp Girl. It's gonna be like that. So that's fine. That's really cool. Let's talk about this mental. After getting shot both Steven and Mark end up in a mental ward house. It's not just a regular one. I just think it's the fact that the shooting took place in the pyramid. It's not just a regular one. It's Alexander the Great. So I believe this has some power slash magic. I also believe that the surroundings, the tomb, is some type of like mystical, powerful, magical type thing. And a fun thing I thought about was, and there's a comic book with King the Conqueror. He went back in time and took over, Alexander the Great's territory and became like the king, the emperor, all that stuff, right? And I was like, oh, is this where King the Conqueror shows up? Because we haven't seen him. We haven't seen him since Loki, and he has nowhere to appear. They don't indicate him in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and from the teaser trailer of Thor: Love and Thunder, there's no King the Conqueror. But they haven't gave us a full trailer, so is he in it? I don't know. But it don't indicate the King the Conqueror is in there. And I thought this was going to be the one. But it looks like no King the Conqueror. But if they did, I saw the little scene to a comic book reference where King the Conqueror dethroned Alexander the Great. And I believe that could be a factor in it if you choose to do that route, of course. So, and another thing where I noticed why this is not a regular mental house is I think the water that was surrounding the tomb was like some type of holy water, and Arthur might have just used his powers and enchanted it. And so I don't think they're dead. You don't die, because you still see the body, that character ain't dead. So it just seems that what this one I really like about it is they had every character. I mean, even the henchmen to the thugs to, detail on detail. Like, everybody who Mark and Steven saw were in this house locked up with him. They were either like the workers, the employees, or they were other like patients. And they're all crazy too, including Layla. And Arthur is actually like a therapist in it, and they have Egyptian sculptures and pictures, and it's all white, and it's the same type of white of like Moon Knight's like color white of his suit, both his suits. And so it's definitely that. And I really like the fact that even when he was in the wheelchair and he tried to stand up, he had that like lock. And because if you remember episode 1, before he goes to bed, he ties his ankle up to a chain bed, and here he is, his ankle's tied up, chained up to a wheelchair. And I'm like, that's so cool. That's cool. So a lot of callbacks, and this is definitely why I love Marvel so much, because it connects it in so many ways, and little details like that just make it. This thing, obviously, it's not real. I don't think it's real. I don't think it's real. I was right that he was going to be an untrustworthy narrator for the viewing audience of this show. And I'm thinking, okay, Arthur might have used his power, but I think with Khonshu and the Moon Knight within him is contradicting the magic of it, and it's leaving them an opening window. I just want to say that it's really cool. I like that. You know why I like this? Because this is Marvel like doing like the Joker in a way, the Joaquin Phoenix version of Joker, where everything Joker you saw through Joker's eyes, it was false. It wasn't real. He was like imagining things, or he wasn't like telling the truth, or it was all in his head. And so it still has that mystery. This is Marvel's version of doing that same tactic, but not in a film, but just in an episode. And Marvel can go that route if they wanna give you an untrustworthy narrator for the viewing audience. They can do it, and you wouldn't even know. But that's really cool about that. So that was one of my favorite things about that. It's a show you can just get on the Marvel ride and just enjoy watching, and you never know what's gonna show up. Let's and we'll get to the ending explaining right now. It just seems like Mark is more aware of things because in this, Jake and Mark, which is just the same person, uh, they finally like have their own separate body, but it's the same body, it's the same person. And I thought it was funny that Mark told Steve, like, man, I can't believe you kissed Layla. I'd have beat your ass. But he didn't beat his ass. He gave him a hug. He hugged it out and said they missed each other. They were scared. They were alone. And then when you see him sneaking out the hallway, right, trying to escape, you see another tomb, and it was Jake. But it seems Jake's more aware of what's going on. He wants to get out, and Mark knows Jake. Mark knows Jake. I didn't think, because in episode 3 they're like, who killed these guys? I didn't kill him. Oh, I didn't kill him type thing. But I think Mark knew, like, oh no, this could be Jake. So I think Mark knows that Jake exists, and he didn't tell Steven yet. I'm just like, what? And then they both run into Tyret, who is the hippo goddess. She is the lady of birth. She is an Egyptian god that could bless women to give birth or to have birth. She has the power to rejuvenate or regenerate, so she can bring people back from the dead or heal people, basically. And what I'm believing is that they put this type of Egyptian god in this show to team up with Moon Knight, basically, and they both have a common enemy, which is Author and Amen. And I think two possible things that's gonna happen. One, I think she's gonna because I believe Mark's dead, but I think she's gonna bring him back to life in his own body, and I think he's gonna bring another personality along, which I'm thinking Jake, but I'm not sure. But she's not like an official Marvel character when you look at the comic books or TV cartoon shows. Basically, she's not really there. This is the showrunners are pretty much sticking to almost accurate Egyptian gods in a way, but obviously I believe she's on their side, and she's going to use her ability to bring them back to the actual world, back to life in a way, because we know he's shot. Moon Knight got shot, and this is it. But there's really not enough about her if you want to go by comic books. This is something you'd have to, just research about Egyptian gods. But Egyptians worship her for many, many years, and they had to change it up. So in reality, she was kind of nature, but if you made her mad, she would throw fire and hail and all that destruction stuff. So she was more of I don't know, like a serious, like she was like how Egyptians viewed gods. They were more serious, to look down upon you. This one they kind of done like Marvel went more of a, like a Groot. They went a silly way, a more friendly way. Just some, just like that. It's fine. So that's cool, but she's very powerful, and I think in the next episode you'll see that. So once again, I really like this episode. I really like this cliffhanger. because now they're saying, okay, Moon Knight is more than just a street fighter. He don't fight crime. He fights things like this. This is like in the same side of like Guardian of the Galaxy. This is a Doctor Strange type thing. This is a WandaVision. Definitely WandaVision. This episode felt like WandaVision show. Like you didn't know who to trust. You didn't know what's going on. Things always change. You didn't know what was happening. You don't know who's real, who's not. And this is definitely a off the rail type Marvel show. You know, just like I said, Guardian of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, Thor, all that. Just the internals. Definitely, this is heavily connected to the internals. And what I thought was really cool too is that since this is the MCU, I thought they had an opportunity, but they did plant a little seed of Apocalypse from the X-Men. Now, the actor who plays Moon Knight slash Mark slash Steven, that same actor, Isaac or Oscar, I think it's Oscar. I'm sorry, I'm not good with names, but he played Apocalypse in the X-Men movie of it in the Fox version. But now, since we know Disney bought Fox and got all the X-Men property, I thought, oh, this is a chance. But they didn't show Apocalypse. Now, there's more than one like pyramid in Egypt, so that might not be the one. But I think they're in the right area of where Apocalypse is laying in of course a tomb in a pyramid. So that was a little bit of mutant slash X-Men reference. Just them being in a pyramid, just them having power, and yeah, all that stuff. So there you go. They put a little X-Men reference in there, and I thought that was cool. So certain seeds are planted, and of course Kevin Feige will revisit those when the MCU is ready for the X-Men, of course. So there's a little bit of that. So I definitely like this show. This is definitely, if I had to give this 1 out of 10, I'm definitely giving episode 4 the big old 10, baby. Let's go, because it was such an amazing episode. Really fun to watch. It felt like a movie this time, and I can't wait for episode 5. So yeah, that's my review, guys. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel, baby. Please subscribe to that, baby. Definitely give me the thumbs up and leave all your comments and tell me what you guys think about the Moon Knight, and tell me some of your guys' MCU theories if you want to in the comments, baby. Peace out.